Hello everyone, my name is Aizuka Yamamoto and today I am playing World of Warships. That's right, not World of Warplanes, but World of Warships. And yet again, as we can see, I'm playing with planes anyway. Because I am playing as an aircraft carrier. To be exact, I will be playing the Kaga Tier 8 Premium Japanese aircraft carrier. Of course, the Kaga is historically quite an important ship, involved in the Battle of Midway, attack of Pearl Harbor, stuff like that. So historically, there's a pretty big connection to Aizuki Yamamoto as well. But that's not even the particular reason that I'm playing it or that I have it. And the reason that I'm now showing it is mainly just how well it plays. So what's the specialty of the Kaga? It is spamming aircraft really. You have a whole lot of aircraft reserves, whereas normal aircraft carriers have 1.5 times their squadron reserves. So for instance I have squadrons of 8, 12 and 12. So normally I'd have 12 reserves and then 18 and 18. So that would also mean that if I lose my first group, then I only have half a group left of each type, or well, of the type that I send in the air. But the Kaga has 3 groups in the reserve. And that basically allows you to keep spamming aircraft at your enemy. And it also means that it doesn't matter whether you lose your aircraft or not. So these rocket aircraft that I used here in the beginning, I'm not expecting them to come back. Any damage that I do with them is pure profit. And now this is basically these rockets, I use them to scout. And this is when the true fun begins, because now we can get into the real damage runs, which you mainly do with torpedo bombers and sometimes also with dive bombers. Japanese torpedo bombers are quite stealthy. I've also built them for stealth, such that they are really stealthy. And it means that you can really do some unexpected actions. Now this is a bit of a shame, this drop. I tried to get torpedoes on Belfast here because I thought, if he shows up in my line of dropping torpedoes, it's not a line of fire, but then I might as well try to hit him, but obviously I missed all of them because I didn't give enough lead. But here on the Nagata we can see quite well that this is already a really solid hit. And then we can steer and get the second run in. And obviously we still have 12 torpedo bombers as reserve, so we can immediately take off with a new group. And in the meantime I'm hitting another 2 torpedoes on the Nagata. And we can see that the previous aircraft are still returning, while I can already send in my next group of the same type, and with other aircraft that will be nearly impossible. You'd really have to wait for your initial group to come back, and especially if it comes back damaged, then you might not even be able to send out a full group of the same type immediately. But with the Kaga you can just keep going with the same type over and over, and that's, it's amazing really if you don't lose too many planes, because obviously you can run out of them, but the anti-air in this battle is not that insane. In fact, it's actually it's really generous. So, and this Sinop is really doing a nice job of sacrificing himself to me. So I can't quite see how many torpedoes the last one hit, but obviously the counter will show up. And we can see that we make a full 4 hits there and a flooding that sticks. So and the damage counter is really starting to add up, mainly from 15 torpedo hits. And at this point, yeah, a couple of targets on the flank where I was dropping, but the Montpellier over there is a bit scary. So perhaps we should divert to the other flank, because there's a juicy target there, the torpedoes. Now the thing with this torpedoes is that the approach run here is quite poor, because I'd have to drop basically alongside the coastline. I am still going to try, and the reason for that is he might steer out and catch some torpedoes, or if he steers in, that would mean that my second run should be a lot easier. And he steers in, and you might think, okay, but then you wasted an entire attack run. Well, not quite, because the next attack run is really easy now. And if we look at how many torpedoes connect there, 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, 4 hits. So that was totally worth it. And these, yeah, I like to call them alignment drops. Yeah, that's really nice to do in an aircraft carrier if you don't have a proper approach to hit someone straight away. So the last run there only got 2 torpedo hits, but it's got a flooding that sticks. So doing some really nice damage there. Meanwhile, if we look at the team scores here, I've actually done a whole lot of damage already, but there are only 2 kills so far. I haven't made any kills myself. And yeah, the battle seems pretty even. The Yuki Kaga from the enemy team is currently in our cap. Yeah, but this run I thought, I might try to get the torpedoes, but since he wasn't quite cooperative, I just decided to steer through and go for New Mexico instead. And that works because I have the 5-second extra attack run time on the torpedo bombers, and that really allows to do actions like this. And target hopping like that is really nice to do in well, in most Japanese carriers, but especially in the Kaga I find it to be very comfortable. And then we get a last drop off from the New Mexico, and you can see we can keep going with these torpedo bombers, and we still have 8 reserves and some additional aircraft coming back in. In fact, we have 9 aircraft coming back in, so that totals to 17 reserves and then 12 in the air. So at this point I still have 29 torpedo bombers in total, which is really quite insane. Barely have lost any. And I'm doing really nice damage. Now obviously in most battles you wouldn't quite be able to continuously go with torpedo bombers, but you'd be able to go with torpedo bombers quite often. But then you'd more often go to dive bombers to allow your torpedo bombers to get back to the ship and regenerate a bit more. And here again we can see the target hopping. Now this 12k on the torpedoes sort of seems like it should be possible to finish him off, especially if I get another run on him. And my first run here on the torpedoes is actually quite nice, but unfortunately I completely screw up my last run. From that perspective it didn't even seem so bad, but well, he dodged all of those torpedoes, so perhaps nice steering there by the torpedoes. I'm not able to see that in any way, so yeah, who knows. And the interesting thing here is, of course, you always have to find a nice target, preferably something like a battleship. And it's nice if they're secluded, or at least with not too much AA. And then you can try and get these really juicy drops off without losing too many planes. Now over here there's a Montpellier, and the Montpellier is, well, that has some heavy AA. But I do manage to get some nice drops off on the Nelson, because initially, of course, on my first approach, yeah, there was no AA. And basically, at this point I should have decided, okay, send back my aircraft, don't go for the third run. But I got cocky and tried to get another run off, well, one torpedo in the water, and I think that missed. So what I was doing here is relocate my ship a bit to sail back, and that's because of this destroyer. If I keep sitting still, this destroyer will be able to to just go around the side of the island and torpedo me. My hope is basically that I can eventually go around the side of one island and try to keep him busy for long enough that I can kill him while surviving myself. Obviously it's a bit cocky of me to go for this Nagato first and not focus the Haida. But my idea here was a bit, yeah, I'm doing really nice damage and the Nagato is such a beautiful target. Let's see what we can do. So taking dive bombers here because I don't have a full reserve anymore, even though I do have a bunch of torpedo bombers heading back in. And I had 11 reserves, not 12, so it was quite close. This is actually quite interesting as well. The dive bombers on the Kaga are high explosive dive bombers in contrast to the regular Japanese dive bombers, which are armor piercing, and that allows you to set fires. And yeah, they play very comfortably, they do a good bunch of damage, so really nice. Obviously I'm being attacked by the Haida now, my ship at least. So yeah, this is what I was afraid of. But it seems like the Haida messed up his torpedo drop, and for now I'm still alive. But it's clear now that with the Haida at this range, yeah, we really have to do something about it. And Nagato is shooting at me, but he could have one-shotted me there. That's really ridiculous that he did so little damage. Got really lucky with both of them there. So the Nagato burns out, and this Haida, he is beaching himself, so I'm thinking, okay, I'm just gonna drop some torpedoes and one will hit, and that's the end of the Haida then. So I'm redirecting my course further south now, and directing my torpedo bombers to go to the cap to see if we can reset whatever is there. In the meantime, my damage has gone up to 212,000. Which is quite close to my damage record actually. And yeah. bunch of ribbons, high caliber and Confederate. Now this is interesting because I completely screw up this this drop, just completely missing it. But obviously for situations like this, when you want to reset a cap, when you need a guaranteed hit and not necessarily much damage, there's always other weapons, such as dive bombers and rocket aircraft. I decided to go with dive bombers because I think, well, should be able to reliably hit him with dive bombers as well, and they do a bit more damage than the rocket aircraft. So going in for the hit, capture is halfway, and solid hit, capture reset. And I also picked off around 4,000 hit points from the archery, which is now nearly dead really. And by now the only two enemy ships alive are the archery and the implaceable. And the implaceable is being chased by two battleships of ours. So yeah, that's looking quite good on our side. And the last drop here, setting the archery on fire. The implaceable is dead now, making the archery the last target, and he burns up. So yeah, if we look at the after battle result then, well, I don't have the detailed statistics. I can't click the team score and detailed report and everything here because this is just a screenshot, but still. 220,815 damage. That's nearly a damage high score for me. So yeah, this was an incredibly good battle for me. Let's sort that out. It's not just another game in the Kaga or whatever. This was an amazing battle. 45 torpedo hits accompanied by 7 floodings, 14 bomb hits, a couple of aircraft shot down, a lot of spotting, and of course, interestingly, 3 enemies destroyed, 1 by fire. That would be the Algeria in the end, got that by fire from the bombs. And we got some secondary hits, 12 in fact, on the Haida. I can't show you now, but those secondary hits on the Haida actually did nearly 10,000 damage to the Haida. So if you do hit with the Kaga secondaries, which only have 4.5 kilometer range, but the damage can really add up. Of course, you do sort of need a destroyer player that plays like the Haida. Not going to comment further on that. I got the Confederate medal for causing 20% or more damage on 6 different targets, and the high caliber medal for causing at least 30% damage to the enemy team on at least 4 different enemies. Now, high caliber showed up at 155,000 damage already, somewhere there. So what I got is more like 42% damage of the total. Then if we look, yeah, of course, really profitable battle for me. And the experience, yeah, this is obviously not base experience, but the base experience was, I think, around 2400. So really amazing game. Once again, this is just to show you guys, well, perhaps what this thing is capable of, or what a great battle would look like, but definitely not what a standard battle looks like. Although, I think the Kaga is a really solid ship. You should not expect to do 200 damage 200,000 damage easily. So I hope you guys enjoyed this battle, and well, I most certainly did. See you all around.